What's up, everybody? My name is Brad and welcome back to the channel. Today we're here to talk about some Stephen King. I haven't done a King-centric video in quite a while, so I thought it was time to get back around to doing that. Stephen King, as you all probably know, he's probably my favorite author. He's definitely the author I've read the most from. I've read 25 to 30 some odd books of his, which is a lot of books to read from one author. But in saying that, it's not even like half of the books that King has written, so I still have a long way to go in completing reading through the Stephen King catalog. And that's sort of where the idea for today's video came from. I've compiled, I think I've got 6 books here, and in my opinion, these are the most popular Stephen King books that he has written that I have yet to read. So I thought it would be fun to talk about some of these, and maybe this will entice me talking about them to actually get around to reading them sooner rather than later. I'm going to talk about each book, just what I know about it. I'm not going to read the synopsis or anything, but just a brief little bit of information that I know about these books. And I think I have these in publication order, and like the first 4 were released before I was born, which I thought was funny. I don't know why I thought that was funny, but I did. But first up is The Dead Zone. I believe this one came out in 79, I think. Yeah, it looks like 79. And what I know about this one is the main character, is his name Johnny Smith, very generic name. But I know he gets into like a car crash or something like that, and he goes into a coma for a few years. And when he wakes up, he's been either blessed with or cursed with, depending on how you want to look at it, this power, these abilities where he can sort of touch somebody and he can see their past, he can see what their future is going to hold. And he comes in contact with this sort of up-and-coming politician. He sees the future of this politician, and it's just a horrible, evil future. And I'm assuming the rest of the book is him stopping that politician from coming into power, or maybe trying to assassinate him. I don't really know the rest of the story. But yeah, this is first up on the list. The Dead Zone came out in 1979. I was going to say it's by Stephen King, but this whole video is about Stephen King books, so that's going to be a broken record if I keep saying that. Next up is Firestarter. I think this one came out in 80, the year after. Probably should have written this down so I don't have to go through it. But yeah, this one came out in 80, so a year after The Dead Zone. This one's about a young girl named Charlie. She has these sort of pyrotechnic abilities. She can catch things on fire. I don't know if she can do other things or not. Can she move things around with her mind, or she only set things on fire? I don't know for sure. But I think the mom was maybe like experimented on by this organization called The Shop. And then she gets married, has a daughter, Charlie, and then Charlie has these abilities. And the rest of the book is sort of about the Shop coming to try to abduct Charlie or kidnap her to do research on her and what her abilities are. Charlie's abilities and the abilities from the guy in The Dead Zone sort of remind me of different aspects of The Shining. I think The Shining came out before both of these, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Shining came out before Dead Zone and Firestarter. Even with Carrie, his first book, Carrie's abilities feel like this sort of version of The Shining in a way. I wonder if there's different aspects of it. That's just my interpretation without having read these other books. I feel like all these powers are The Shining, but different people have different abilities from The Shining, if that makes any sort of sense. And I know there's a new movie, Firestarter, coming out, new adaptation with like Zac Efron. And the trailer does not look very good. I have seen the Drew Barrymore movie way long time ago. I don't remember much about it. I'm probably not going to watch the new adaptation. It doesn't look very good. I know it's sort of painting Charlie to be like the villain, which I know she's not in there. So that's an interesting take on it, I guess. This is Firestarter. Again, repeating myself, I don't know why, by Stephen King. Next up is Cujo. This one came out in 81, I think. Yeah, 81. So 3 books, 3 years back to back to back. This one is about the big Saint Bernard, and I think it gets rabies. It gets bit by a bat or something, right? And then goes rabid, starts killing people. I think this is, I might be wrong. This might be the first book that takes place in Castle Rock. I know it takes place in Castle Rock. I don't know if it was the first one or not. I know there's a few that take place in Castle Rock. That's sort of his big town where lots of different stories happen. And the funny thing about this one is, if you listen to interviews with Stephen King when he talks about this book, he does not remember writing this book whatsoever. He was just, I guess, coked out on cocaine at the time, drugged up, and he does not remember writing anything about this book. But there was a story he told where he had a motorcycle and he was like going to get it worked on or fixed, and he drove out to this sort of secluded garage, and this big, I don't know if it was a St. Bernard or another big dog, came out and was sort of savagely barking at him, and it kind of scared him, and that's where he got the idea for Cujo. This one I've heard is pretty bleak with the ending. I think I know what happens at the end. I don't want to say it for spoilers, and also might be wrong. But yeah, Cujo's one I have not gotten to yet. Next up is Christine. This is the Killer Car book. I love his picture on the back. He's sitting on the Plymouth Christine. He looks awful happy in that picture, doesn't he? This one came out a few years later, I think in 83. Yeah, 83. And this one, I got it used. It's got a sticker in here. It says, "A book is a present you can open again and again." Some sage advice, some words of wisdom there. Out of all the books I'm talking about today, Christine probably interests me the least, because I know it's about sort of the possessed car, the killer car, whatever you want to say about it. I don't know how much of the story is actually about the car itself, or if it's just about the characters surrounding the car. I say it's my least interesting one, the one I'm least interested in. But if I read all these, it'll probably be the one that I enjoy the most. That is just how it'll work out. And King did this before, these sort of killer cars. In Night Shift, there's a story, I just think it's called Trucks, where it's semi-trucks that are sort of possessed and start killing people. It was turned into the movie Maximum Overdrive. The semi-truck has like the Green Goblin face on the front of it. So this one, I don't know. I'll eventually get to it because I want to read everything, but I'm not as interested in this one. I'm not a very big car guy, so a killer car story just doesn't interest me as much as the other ones. But I will check it out eventually. That's Christine. Now this next one, this is one I have read part of it. I was listening to it on audiobook, I think last year, and I got to the equivalent of about 400 pages into it or so, and my audiobook expired, and I just did not get back around to either reading it or listening to it, though I was thoroughly enjoying the story. And this is The Stand. This is the complete and uncut edition. This edition came out in 90, and I think the original version of The Stand came out in 79, I believe. Like I said, I got about 400 pages into it. I was really enjoying the story. It's about Captain Trips, the flu virus. It's very reminiscent of what has been going on in our real world with the pandemic and everything. This virus coming in and wiping out a huge chunk of the population. Way worse in the book than it was in real life, but still very reminiscent nonetheless. And I really was enjoying it. I love when King gives us all kinds of different perspectives, whether they're little minor characters or the main characters we're following. It just makes the events in the book seem more real, more grounded, like you're thrown more into the story. Like it feels just more real. I keep saying real. I don't know how else to describe it. Like he did with Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot's my favorite King book, and you get to know all these little minor characters in the town. It just feels like this living, breathing, lived-in town. And then when the bad things start to happen, it's all the more impactful because you've gotten to know these minor characters in the book, and it's not just this nameless character who gets killed. You don't really care about it. You've gotten to know them a little bit, knowing a bit of their backstory, their day-to-day life or whatever. It's just more impactful, and I was enjoying that with this one. It's impactful getting to see all these little minor characters, and then they get the Captain Trips virus, and they end up dying in horrible ways. I think the last part I remember in this was the main character was going through like this underground tunnel, and back when it was still populated, like the military had set up like a machine gun nest and was just basically shooting anybody trying to escape the city, fleeing through this tunnel, and he's coming across all these corpses and the machine guns and all that kind of stuff. That's sort of the last big set piece I remember reading in The Stand, but I do want to get back around to it eventually. I'll probably start over from the beginning so I can be fresh and going on with the story. This is The Stand, the complete and uncut edition, and I love the cover on here, but I don't think the cover has anything to do whatsoever with the actual story, which is kind of interesting to say the least. The final book I have on this list today, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for this one. This one is The Green Mile. So not only have I not read the book, but I have not seen the movie either. I know I'm probably going to get a bunch of hate in the comments for that, because this is a pretty popular movie. I think a lot of people think it's not only the one of the best Stephen King adaptations, but just in general, one of the best movies of all time. And I just have never gotten around to watching it. I know this is about the prison, was it the Cold Mountain Penitentiary, and Green Mile, that's death row. And what's the character's name? I think Chip Coffey is on death row, but he's a bit special. He has he's been accused of like rape and murder of some children, but he has the ability to heal people, I believe is what his power is. And it's sort of about his time on death row. I think it's the warden sort of retelling these events probably years later. But yeah, a lot of people say that this is one of King's best books. And again, like I said, one of the best adaptation movie-wise that King has ever done, or that's ever been adapted by King or from King. But yeah, just one I have not gotten around to. And I would like to pick up eventually the serialized version. I think it came out in 6 volumes. Let's see. Yeah, 6 volumes. So it was like little novella each month or week or however, whatever the time frame was when they published it. And it was like a little cliffhanger. You read your part, cliffhanger, you have to wait till the next part comes out. I think that's pretty cool. I kind of wish more people would do that with bigger books, but then again, I wouldn't want to wait for it to come out to get the new volume and stuff. It's a cool way to release a story like this. But yeah, this one is The Green Mile, one of the ones I have not read from Stephen King. And that's it. Those have been 6 of Stephen King's more popular books that I have yet to read. Let me know down in the comments what I should read first. Should I read them in publication order? Do you have one you think I should read before I read into the other ones? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, if any of these are your favorite Stephen King books, or maybe if these are some of your least favorite Stephen King books, let me know that down in the comments as well. That's all I have for you guys today, so thank you for spending your time with me. Again, my name is Brad, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.